Gentlemen, today I'm going to do the front wheel bearing on a Toyota Hiace power van. Obviously first job is to get the wheel off. Then next thing you need to be doing is taking the two caliper carrier bolts off. You can see here I've just got one here on the ratchet. They're both 17mm bolts, and that allows you to swing the caliper out of the way. We're just going to hang it up so we're not putting stress on this bad guy. Okay, so next stage then, there's a split pin in here. Once you take the bearing cap off, remove the split pin, remove the nut cover, which is there. You remove the nut, and then there's like a retainer ring, and then everything really just slides off. It's pretty easy after that. You can see here I've just given this a bit of a clean up just to I guess inspect the surface, make sure everything looks okay, which it does, thankfully. So the next step then is press out the old bearing races from the hub and get everything assembled. Okay, so here's the hub and the disc assembly. You just keep those together. You don't need to take these bolts out. You can just take the disc off in one go if you like. So there's a race in here. You can see the surface here. That's for the smaller outer bearing. There's actually two bearings in these, and then on the inside we have an oil seal. This is your ABS ring, oil seal, and then that's the inner bearing in there. You can just see, and there'll also be a race on that. So the plan is we'll pull this seal off. Hopefully the inner bearing will just drop out, and then it's a case of just tapping out those races then and getting ready then for the new ones to go in. Right, so that's the seal out. That was a bear to get off. Needed a little bit of heat. Massive lever bar to try and get that out, but it came out eventually. Then the inner bearings come out. So in here now you can see we've got our two races. This is the larger race here, and then the inner race is just inside here. Let me see. So the best way I find to get these out is there's four notches actually on the inside of the hub, and it'll just allow you access just to tap that with a hammer. So I'm going to use this extension, and I'll just tap both the inner and outer race out, and then give everything a clean, ready for the new bearings to go in. Okay, so I've just pressed the races in and popped the bearings in, seal on the rear side, and then the new bearing in the front here, and I've just packed it out with grease. Just if you get the bearing and just in a gloved hand roll it around with and just start to push grease through the bearings, get it nicely lubricated before you stick it in, and then you're going to want to just put a little bit in the hub itself as well. I have a press here for putting the races in, which is handy to have, but if you don't have one, it's fine. You can, I always find a trick, which is a pretty easy thing to do, is just if you take the old races, you can just set them in on top, and kind of use them to drift your new races in. Just use a large hammer or mallet, whatever, just tap that in. It'll keep them nice and straight. But I'm lucky here. I've got a press to use, so might as well use that. So next step is really just offer it up to the van, get the center nut on, and start torquing things down. All right, so that's the hub and bearing in. What I normally tend to do with this type of bearing setup is kind of torque it up until you can start to feel a little bit of binding, and just keep torquing that. Okay, I can see now, just as we're going through here, that's starting to bind up a little bit, and then just slacking it off. Don't be cranking these things down. They don't need 1,000 pounds of torque. They just need a little bit just to hold the thing together. And once it's wheeling freely like that, it's time to stick the cover on, and a split pin, and then we'll stick the bearing cap back on again, and that's it. So bearings in, caps on, torque down, release it a little bit. Seems to be spinning nice and freely. There's no play top or bottom, so it seems to be going as expected. Just the last thing now is obviously bolt the brake caliper back up again, and also then just give the thing a spray down with some brake cleaner to clean some of this oil and grease off and give it a good tidy up. Last check I do then, just before I'm going to button everything up, just check it's still rotating freely with the wheel and tire back on again. Give it a shake, top and bottom, left to right, just to make sure there's no play on it. In this case there isn't, everything's good. So it looks good to me, and I think that's job then. Alright, thanks for watching.